Stand by.
And finish on those, show clear.
Micah here with 7F Prepped. Today I wanted to go over my helmet setup that I use in cold weather shooting. Up here in Alaska, it is known to get a little bit chilly.
Got a little nippy going through the fast out here.
Full disclosure here at the beginning, none of the products that I'm going to be mentioning have been gifted to me or given to me. I have paid for every single one of these by myself. I've had a lot of trial and error with some of these setups. My intent with this video is that hopefully it'll help you make an informed decision. Things that maybe I like or didn't like about a particular product might be something to consider. Just keep that in mind. The things that I'm reviewing now, I've tested and I really like, but some of them may or may not work for you based on your application, what you might be doing, and just personal preference. So we're gonna start with the helmet itself. This is a Team Wendy LTP. That stands for Lightweight Tactical Polymer. When you're considering buying a helmet, there's basically 3 different types of helmets. You have your bump helmet, your carbon helmets, and then ballistic. For my application, getting to know how to use night vision, ballistics was not something that I need, at least not right now. Maybe sometime down the line I might consider getting one. And then there's the LTP, or the bump helmets, which are very affordable. That's the one thing about ballistics, is they're usually very expensive. The bump helmets are typically very inexpensive, especially the Team Wendy LTP. Very, very affordable. And the carbon ones, that kind of middle one, for me, it really didn't make sense for the amount of cost difference going from a bump to a carbon was pretty substantial in terms of cost, but what you're getting in terms of features didn't make a whole lot of sense for me. So therefore, I chose the LTP by Team Wendy, the EXFIL LTP. Another reason why I chose the LTP, I chose the 3.0 rails. That's these guys right here, Picatinny. So I can mount accessories on there, lights on there. We'll get to some of the setup in a minute here, but just the overall helmet itself, the Team Wendy LTP bump, I've been very happy with. The other thing that I really enjoy about it is the Boa system. That's this guy right here. It's how, of course, the pads are what hold it to your head, but the retention system of the Boa is very easy to use. It's just kind of a push button, push it in, spin the wheel, it tightens up around your head, nice and snug. For various different conditions, especially up here. Sometimes it might be super hot under that lid, and you want to have as little extra layering, hats or beanies or anything like that underneath it. So you might need a little bit tighter, versus in the winter when it's super cold. In the video in the beginning, one of those nights that I was shooting, it was -5 with the wind chill. It was 0 without the wind chill, -5 with the wind chill. It's pretty brutal. And I did have to wear a number of accessories underneath my helmet to make it comfortable. So the LTP or the Team Wendy LTP with the Boa Retention System has just been amazing. Something else to consider when you're buying a helmet is, one of the most critical things is the fitment of the helmet. If it's too tight, you're gonna get hot spots, uncomfortable positions around your helmet. With the Team Wendy, I found that the retention system was just great, but the pads on the inside, after I broke them in for a few years, started to get a little worn down, and I wanted to try something else, so I ordered the TNVC 4D pads. If you can see in there, I'll show some B-roll in here, but inside there, very thick, very comfortable pads. Installation was super easy. It's just hook and loop. There were a couple of things to consider. So you get 10 pads in there. You can place them around. They have a recommendation of how you would put them into the helmet. I followed that as closely as possible. I still felt like I needed a little extra padding in there. So I ended up using one of the Team Wendy strips in there of pads, and then put the 4D pad from TNVC on there in addition to it. So everybody's a little bit different. Their heads are different sizes. Just so happens I have a tiny head, so I needed to put a few more pads in there.
I got a tiny head?
This would be a good point to talk about some of the cold weather layers that I have tried and used, and some of them worked really well, some of them I didn't care for. So the first one I've been using for a long time is this Under Armour Cold Gear. Works great. Very comfortable underneath the helmet. My only drawback to this one is how short the neck piece is. And when you're running around and you have the chin strap underneath your neck, it would pull up high enough so that my neck was still exposed. Nothing huge. If you have a combat shirt or something like that, you can just zip it up a little bit higher over that, create an overlap. For me though, it kept pulling out, so I wanted something with a little bit more length. So I tried that. The next one I tried was this one from SEIRUS. It's just a inexpensive one I picked up at a local store called Three Bears. It's basically the Costco of the remote areas in Alaska. Very nice texture, fleece, very warm. I still use this from time to time. The neck comes down a little bit longer, but still that same drawback. It just didn't cover enough all the time. When I would move my head, it would untuck, and then you got that cold air going on your neck, and it wasn't very comfortable. Again, layer up, put a scarf on, something like that. Something you can tuck in, a turtleneck or something like that. But ultimately, love this one, super comfortable. It's really warm though, so I don't need to wear it all the time, just on the coldest days. Pretty good. Saw this one. This was an TRex one. Honestly, this was the one I was looking at using the most. It comes in this nice green color that matched all of my gear. Of course, it's TRex, which just means it's cool, and we know that looking cool is important. However, the texture of this one, it's kind of a see-through mesh texture. I guess it would be great if it were a warmer environment. Two things: it did not hold warmth in very well, and I developed hot spots a lot quicker with this one because of that texture. So I use this one when it's hot, warmer, so I'd say, it's not warm, 30 degrees and above, I'll wear this one. But I don't like to wear it for long periods of time just because it starts to get hot spots. This one has been my absolute favorite, the one I use now. It is also TRex. It is their kind of normal balaclava. Very comfortable, and you can see the neck piece on this one is very long, so it stays tucked in. It is very warm, very thin too, so it doesn't take up a whole lot of extra room in that helmet, and you can get it a nice snug fit. So this is my go-to, the balaclava from TRex. Very, very comfortable. It's by far my favorite one that I use right now. And then last, Crye Precision makes this precision skull cap. It has a fleece lining. Got one in multicam, got one in black. They were doing a sale where it was buy one get one, so I just decided to get both of them. They have these cool little features for your ear or your eye pro to go through those. I don't ever use them, especially with my my helmet on. It's just a lot to try and fish the temples of your eye pro through those tiny little holes while you've got your helmet and you're trying to get your ear pro and everything on there. Honestly, just shove them under the helmet, it works just fine. But it is thin enough that I can wear this if I don't need all of the extra fabric around my face. So again, something I would wear on a little bit of a warmer shooting, above 20, something like that. But also a very good option there. So ultimately, it really doesn't matter. Just pick one that keeps you warm. Leaves enough room so that you can get your helmet tight, doesn't give you any hot spots, and that keeps you warm and is comfortable. So, back to the helmet. The next thing I want to talk about is the helmet cover. So the helmet cover is what I have on here, obviously. So the LTP, the lightweight tactile polymer, is basically just plastic. It's a polymer lid all the way around, but you can customize it by getting these things called helmet covers. So I have one from Team Wendy. It's great, nothing wrong with it. But I saw this one from AGILITE. AGILITE gear with this rear pouch on here. It was really appealing to me. It looks great and has a lot of the retention all the way built into it. Good places for Velcro. So it's very easy to install. It was just a couple of pieces. It's a kind of a retention system here with a bunch of Velcro tabs that you would put underneath your pads, and it retains it on there. Very snug fitting, doesn't move around at all. It has these bungee cords to retain my lights. Going down there, the battery pack, or pouch rather, is just hook and loop, opens up. Right now I don't have a battery for my RNVGs, but for now I put a counterweight in there, which is just some steel tire weights. Picked them up at a local auto parts store. They cost me 15 bucks for a box of, I think there was like 2 pounds worth of weights in there. Might even be more than that, but very inexpensive. They come in breakaway pieces or pieces that you can just cut up and make strips. So what I did is I customized them to the exact weight that I needed, and I just did that by putting it on and trying hold it there level, and if it was pulling still towards the front, I might add a little bit more weight. But with this Boa Retention System, the weight's in the back, perfectly balanced on my head. I almost don't even need to use the chin strap. The Boa is more than enough to keep that on there, and the weights just help balance the weight of the night vision when it's on there. When I do take the night vision off and run the helmet without the night vision, I do notice that it pulls back a little bit, but it's as simple as just removing the counterweights and you've got a balanced helmet again. Next up, the chin strap from Team Wendy, the CHINSTRAP extender. I have it right here on my left side. It is a very easy to use extension for your chin strap. Plugs in one side, connects to the other side, and that would be for use with a gas mask, a CBRN mask, or anything like that, so that you can wear your helmet, your nods, and still have a good retention system to hold everything on your head. You don't want to be losing things, especially in a situation like that. I have done very little training with the gas mask on. It just so happens that the league we shoot in that allows us, you know, is a low light, no light league that I get to shoot in, and it's a lot of fun. They didn't want us to use gas masks, and I completely understand. It adds another layer of safety that we need to be concerned about when working with not as experienced shooters. Also, it might put off the wrong vibe for any new members trying to come into the club to see a bunch of LARPers going around with masks and night vision and all kinds of kit. Might be a little bit deterring for somebody that's not quite used to that. It might be their first time at the range, so didn't want to put anybody off. Yeah. Moving on. Earpro.
Loud noises!
I went with the ComTac 3s by PELTOR. They have been my absolute favorite. I know there's a 4, a 5. They might even have a 6 out right now. They are very comfortable, very good sound quality. They run off of a single AAA battery in there, one on each side. Just push the buttons on the left side. Either up or down will turn it off, and press and hold for about 3 seconds will turn it on. There's 4 volume controls, 4 up, so 4 levels that you can set it at. I usually leave it at the very lowest one, and I usually run double ear pro anyway. But when I've got, when we're talking afterwards or in between stages or, you know, communicating back and forth, I will bump it up a little bit. So I've been very happy with them. There's plenty of brands out there. As far as ones that give good sound quality, PELTORs have been kind of known for great sound quality. Sordens, and of course OpsCore. OpsCore is probably the best ones out there. Maybe sometime in the future I might be able to get a set of those. However, the price point on those is very steep. So for what it's worth, I'm happy with the PELTORs. I don't see myself upgrading anytime soon. These came with the Noise Fighter Sightline Gel Cups. That's this padding here on the inside. Can't recommend them enough. The gel cups versus the kind of plastic, pleathery ones that originally come with them, don't recommend them. They do get hot, it's very hard to breathe, and they don't create a good enough seal for me. I really want to preserve my hearing, so the gel cups are where it's at. Super comfortable. The ones that I have on another set of PELTORs have the ridge line cut in it for your Earpro. Great. It's not something I felt the need to switch out the ones on my helmet for, but it's an option if you need it. When you're considering Earpro for your helmet or in use with a helmet, there's 2 ways to consider doing it. The first one is a non-helmet mounted option. They make Earpro that have very minimal bridges that connect the 2 Earpro, and that can go underneath a helmet. There's also neck kind that come up over your ears. What I've found is that they create hot spots faster, at least for me. Again, you're different. You might need that, or it's all you've got. Use what you have. But I recommend getting a set of good ear protection that you can mount to the helmet. When I initially did the Earpro to my helmet, I went with the Team Wendy quick release system. There's a port right here where this light and this light are mounted that would allow for the PELTORs to be mounted to there, and they can still articulate up and come back down. I'd heard some complaints about them popping off, meaning the quick release would pop off while you're using it. I personally have never had that happen to me. That being said, I'm also not jumping out of airplanes or doing anything like that. They just clip on, very secure, and that was that. Within the last since late last year, I upgraded to the Ops Core rack system, or amp rack system, which are these pieces right here. This was quite the process for a Team Wendy helmet. So the first thing you need is the rack link kit from AXL or Axle, which is this carbon fiber wrap. You can see there, I'll put some B-roll in there for you, that connects the rack system to the Earpro itself. Secondly, from Unity Tactical, you have to get the platform adapter, which is a little tiny black post that comes in right over here, that allows it to connect to the Team Wendy system right here. Once you've got that all installed, then the Earpro pop on, rotate, come down. One of the coolest things about these is that they are so adjustable. You can get them to fit perfectly to retain that to your helmet, or your helmet to your head, so that you don't have any hot spots. So the arm itself will extend, push in, push out. You can articulate the angle of the Earpro themselves, and then when you're not using them, they can be lifted up and stored over top, and then you have your Mickey Mouse ears. So that's Earpro. Moving on, the next thing when you're building a helmet to consider is illumination. Typically, if you're running a helmet system and you're using it with night vision, illumination is one of the things that is kind of crucial to the whole thing. On my left side of my helmet, I have the Princeton Tech Charge Pro Tactical Helmet Light. It's quite a mouthful. I got it from a website. I'll put links to everything that I have on here and that I've talked about in the description below. So if you have questions, I'll put the websites that I got everything through. So the Princeton Tech Charge Pro, fantastic light, very, very easy to use. So there's a button right underneath here. Click the button once, it will go to a red light. Click it again, it'll go to a blue light. Press and hold on that setting, it will go to a higher power lumen light, a white light. Push it again and it turns off. If you press and hold right from the beginning without the light being on, it will give you an IR light, which you can use for tasking underneath your night vision. It'll give you a nice little admin light. So that's the Princeton Tech Charge Pro. On my right side, I have a Streamlight TLR7. That one I put on there. I have a couple of other lights that I could mount on there. I just wanted something super small. Eventually maybe a Scout 300V, or like the Vampire or whatever it's called, that has the articulating bridge on it would be nice, because then I can get it a little bit closer to the helmet. You see the offset here. The ones with the Scout Pros have an articulating hinge, and you could actually put it in this section right here, which would be very convenient. They're pretty expensive though. I'm in no rush. This one gets the job done. It's nice and small, easy on, just one push, easy off, very easy to use. So the TLR7 is what I have. And this was the one prior to the 7A, so it had different buttons, and I actually like these style buttons better for the helmet. The new ones are all the 7A, which are way better for a handgun, but on a helmet, it's those downward pressing ones instead of the side pushing ones. The side pushing ones actually work really well on a helmet. So had that lying around, just threw that on there. I have it mounted to what's called a THYRM Vari-Arc. All I have to do is twist it, and I can put it in any position. I honestly, the only time I ever use this light is when I'm at the bench reloading or doing some talking underneath the hard lid of the range deck. And what I will do is I will point it straight up and turn it on, and then it becomes an umbrella light. I'm not pointing it right in anybody's eyes, blinding them. I'm not running the risk of pointing it at somebody who is under their nods and creating a spot in their lenses or anything, although this isn't bright enough to do that permanent damage over a short period of time. But even as it may, it's just more polite, in my opinion, to umbrella light. And then I've got that, I can task, it hits the lid, or the roof, the ceiling rather, and I can do all my admin tasks, and when I'm done, put it down, stow it in its position, or I could just leave it up there. Very, very convenient, very arc, awesome from THYRM, can't recommend them enough. At the very top of my helmet, I have my marking light, or my identifier light. This is the HEL-STAR 6 by Core Survival. I'll put the exact model number that I bought on the screen in the B-roll. There are probably 20, 30 different styles of this exact same light, and it all comes down to the lights on the inside and how they run. So the one that I got specifically, very easy to use. I can just reach back, you know, if this was on my head, I can just reach back here and know exactly what position I am putting that light in. The bottom switch has a 1 or a 2 for off. So right now it's in the off position. If I put it in the 1 position, I know it's going to be a solid green light. If I put it in the 2 position, those solid greens stay and I get flashing white light. Kind of a strobe feature there. If I need IR and I'm running night vision, I'll go back to off, there's a switch up here at the top, and all I do is pull that down, switches from visible to IR, so there's no possible way for me to get the two mixed up. So if it's a down position, I know it's going to be IR. And then number 1 is I believe it's a blinking strobe first, and then the second one is a solid strobe, or solid IR light under there. And then going all the way back to the left would shut the unit off. So that is the HEL-STAR 6 by Core Survival. Next up with illumination goes some sort of identifier marker. I went with American flags on both sides. These are from TRex Arms, super inexpensive. They were here in, of course, like 3 or 4 days. The guys over there at TRex are just amazing. Great identifier ones. And then last but not least, I have the Train Hard, Train Smart from Warrior Poet Society. Honestly, it just fit perfectly in there, and it matched the kind of color scheme of the whole helmet. But anything from Warrior Poet Society is proven to give at least 10 strength, 10 speed, and 50 cool points.
But my mom says I'm cool.
Next.
Next up with the helmet, talk about the mount. So I went with the Wilcox G24 breakaway mount. This is the 2021 version. So as you can see, it's a quick, easy to use, articulating mount. Just push the button, pull it down, nods are locked in, ready to go. And it goes right to the place where I want them for my setup. Just always true. Click them, they come right back up out of the way. You don't want to lose your night vision. Some of these mounts have a breakaway features. This one specifically does. Off the top, I get the purpose behind it. If you're jumping out of a plane or running through trees and all kinds of operator stuff, there's a possibility to get it snagged on something, and if it didn't have that breakaway feature, you could basically hang yourself or break your neck. I'm not jumping out of airplanes or doing anything like that. It's for the most part a square range, so running around I don't have to really worry about any obstacles or anything like that. I have driven with these on just to see how it is, and totally fine. Getting in and out of the car, I didn't, hit it up on top of the roof or anything. It was totally fine. The next thing you want to consider is some sort of additional retainment or retention system. These came with the Team Wendy helmet. They had little hooks on them, but the hooks did not fit into the holes on the night vision themselves. So I just wrapped it around the bridge of the night vision, which works really well. Couple reasons why you want to do this. You don't want the night vision to accidentally come off. So I don't know if you can tell, but here on the side are these articulating buttons on the side. The one to release the night vision is this one on the side. in darkness, as you're running around, you might accidentally just hit the wrong button, and then boom, off come your nods, and there go very expensive piece of equipment on the ground. Don't want to have that happen. The second thing is sometimes when you try and lock it in, sometimes you might think it's in and it doesn't latch all the way, and then you're running, and then your NVGs fall off. So have some sort of retention on there that will catch it if it were to come disengaged from the mount itself. There's a few other options out there. TRex has the SBL NVG Lanyard. It velcros to that strip in the middle of the helmet and has retention on it. It also has a couple pieces of elastic loop. You can put batteries or glow sticks or whatever. I don't put batteries on the top of my helmet, or even on this pouch from AGILITE. It's got strips here where I could put batteries. I don't do that because in Alaska, typically if it's dark, it's cold. We have about 6 months of darkness, but those 6 months are very cold. And if I put batteries on the outside, they lose their charge very quickly. So I keep all of my batteries inside of pouches, inside of bags, usually sitting inside my car where it's a little bit warmer. If I left them exposed on the top of my helmet, who knows if they'd be reliable or not. Another good retention device is called the NERD from Kinetic Consulting. The NERD stands for Night Vision Elastic Retention Device. Another good one, I have one that a buddy of mine just made for us, very similar to the NERD. Buddy of mine, Joe Kim from Phalanx Academy, he made one and it works well. You can kind of loop the nods through them and it velcros to that lid on there, or the strip on the top of the lid, and retains them in the event that they might come disengaged or fall off. Next up, we have the focusing caps on the night vision themselves. So that's these right here. There's sometimes a need for you to have closer focus. The night vision can only be focused on one point. It's very similar to a set of binoculars. You can't be focused on something close and something far at the same time. So you have to refocus them. Well, the option is to refocus the night vision themselves, but when you're close engagement, far engagement, close engagement, far engagement, running around, reloading magazines, then going out to shoot back to 50, that's a lot of manipulation of the night vision itself, and sometimes you don't have that opportunity when you have things in your hands. There's several options out there. The Tarsiers are kind of the industry leader right now, but they are very expensive. They have an aperture inside them. You just kind of swivel the lenses and they focus tight and then zoom back out for further distances. But there's a lot of other options out there that are less expensive. So for what I did, recommendation again from Phalanx Academy, Joe Kim, great guy. Can't recommend his classes enough. In fact, that's where I got into the whole night vision thing, was with him. So if you're local and you want some good training on night vision, hit him up, Phalanx Academy. I'll put his link down in the description below. But he recommended Butler Creek caps with some sacrificial lenses. So all you have to do is buy these lenses. The ones he recommended, I think like the 9A or something like that, were just slightly too big. Couple of options. You can run a strip of electrical tape around the night vision itself and then put these on. That'll add a little bit of friction to make them stay on there. What I did is I again went to that Three Bears store here in Alaska, and they just had a whole wall of Butler Creek lens caps, and the guy that was working there was kind enough to let me try a couple of them on to find one that fit the best. So this one, I'll try and find which size I went with. I already threw the packaging away, but very snug fit. They don't come off. I didn't have to use any tape or anything like that, so I went with the Butler Creeks. Then I just took a drill and drilled a 1/8 inch hole through the center of the caps, and then added a sacrificial lens. The sacrificial lens I just found on eBay. I think they were like $10 for 2 of them. So the cool thing about them is when I am focused to infinity for long range engagement or running around, what I would normally do shooting is just leave the caps up. Caps up allows the most amount of light to come through, clearest image possible, and I focus it to infinity, and then when you're running under night vision and shooting targets that are 15 meters away or so, totally fine. if I need to reload magazines or identify, hits on target or something like that, I can just close the caps. It then allows less light in, but always closes the aperture, if you will, and allows the images that are, or the things that are closer to me to be in focus as well. It does make it a little grainy though, so I wouldn't recommend running it like that all the time. It just doesn't let a whole lot of light through. So this would be great for close range, identifying, admin stuff, and then when you need to go further range, it's just a quick, simple flip of the caps, and you're back to your infinity focus. Lastly, I want to talk about the night vision themselves. I went with RNVGs, which stand for Rugged Night Vision Goggle. It is a single non-articulating bridge here in the middle, but two PVS 14 style tubes. I actually got this set from Joe Kim, Phalanx Academy. Again, thanks brother. Secondhand, and they have just phenomenal white phos in them. Couldn't be happier with the clarity and the performance that they've given me. They're non-articulating, but I don't really need that. If I need to, just a quick peek, I can just tilt the lid up like that, pull it back down, or I can stow and go with the articulating mount from Wilcox there, and totally fine. This particular model has so this is the operating switch here, so one left would turn it on. The second one, kind of a pull out and twist, has an IR illuminator. And this one has actually a focus dial on it, or kind of an aperture. As I spin it out, the light gets more focused, and if I bring it to me, the light gets more blown out. So they are made, the company that made mine is called Heat High-End Armament Technologies. I'll tag them down below as well. They have Elbit tubes in there. Super durable, very easy to use, onboard illuminator. The interpupillary distance stays the same, so when it comes up and goes down, I don't have to worry about refocusing them or, adjusting where it hits on my eye. You just set them and forget them.
You set it and forget it.
So, really cool. And because the tubes on the inside are PVS 14s, they're very serviceable. They are Gen 3, so the kind of the best of what's available today. And I know that I could send these to a reputable place and have them serviced if necessary, and order replacement parts online if I needed to. So that's what I have. That's my helmet. Yeah. Everything that I have used, I have tried, and I love on this. I may find something else in the coming months or years that I might want to try out again. My helmet might change later, but for right now, this is what I use, and it works well for me. So I hope you liked the video. Again, I'll include all the links and the products that I've referenced in this video in the description below. If I missed something, or if you have questions about any of the gear that I used, please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and take care, everyone.